Welcome to The Deep Dive, the podcast where we sweat the small stuff so you don't have to. From real stories to expert advice, we're here to uncover everything about hyperhidrosis and empower you to take control. Ready to dive into the world of sweat and solutions? Let's make a splash.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. This is where we dig into some fascinating sources, pull out the insights that really help you get properly informed. Today we're looking at a guide that is, well, incredibly direct, unapologetic. Honestly, it kind of keeps it 100 right from the start. It's called A Woman's Guide to Personal Hygiene. Now, if you're thinking, okay, polite overview, think again. This guide jumps right in, kind of confronting the idea that maybe some habits aren't quite up to scratch. But what really grabbed me, and I think what you'll find interesting too, is the core question it brings up. What does it really mean to have, excellent personal hygiene? Beyond the basics we all know, it's not just smelling nice. This guide has some seriously specific, sometimes kind of surprising advice. It really makes you reconsider things. We're going to unpack that.
It's true. That straightforwardness, it's actually quite refreshing in a way. Because hygiene, it seems simple, maybe intuitive. But this guide gets into these little details, these nuances that are often overlooked, but can really impact, daily comfort, health, even confidence. So our goal today isn't just listing what it says. We want to explore the why. Why these specifics? How do they connect to overall well-being? Maybe help you think about things you haven't consciously focused on before.
Okay, so let's start where a lot of us start the day, the shower. And this guide, it doesn't mess around, gets super specific. It asks right out, do you use the solid soap first, rinse, then use liquid soap? Now, I gotta ask you, listening in, is that your routine? Because I think for most people, it's kind of one soap, job done, right? But this guide pushes for this two-step thing. Is that really necessary, or just about feeling extra clean?
It's a really good question. It kind of hits at this idea of, let's call it layered cleansing, or maybe targeted application. What's interesting is the potential reason behind it. A solid soap, often has a higher pH. It can be better for that initial, really thorough clean, getting off the surface oils, dirt, pollutants, kind of the heavy lifting. Then rinsing before the liquid soap means all that initial stuff is gone. So the liquid soap can then be perhaps gentler, more moisturizing, maybe for a final pass, or specifically for more delicate areas where you'd want something milder. It's kind of optimizing both the cleaning power and the gentleness.
Okay, that makes sense. Sort of a pre-wash than the detailed clean. Got it. But it doesn't just stop with the general wash. It stresses cleaning your posterior even after using the lavatory, which is, important. And then it moves into the delicate topic of cleaning the vagina. And here's a really key bit it mentions, a warning that infections can occur anytime, including wearing underpants made of certain fabrics. That's something I think a lot of us don't actively think about when we're just, picking out underwear for the day. What's the deal there?
Yeah, that's a really crucial point the guide makes. When we talk about intimate hygiene, especially the vagina, the main thing is keeping its natural balance, right? That slightly acidic pH, the healthy microbiome. Overcleaning, especially with harsh soaps, can mess that up. So the guides focus on thorough, but appropriate cleaning is key. And the fabric thing, that's super important. Synthetics, think nylon, polyester, they just don't breathe well. They trap heat, trap moisture, creates this warm, damp situation, which is basically, perfect for bacteria and yeast to grow. That leads to discomfort, irritation, maybe even infections like BV or yeast infections. Whereas natural fabrics, breathable ones like cotton, they let air circulate, helps keep things drier, maintains that healthy microclimate. So it's not just fashion, it's a direct health thing. These little choices, your soap routine, your undies, they can have these big, often kind of underestimated impacts on your comfort and intimate health. It's about working with your body's natural defenses.
Okay, so just when you think, all right, external cleaning, fabrics, got it, guide through his curveball, it suggests this really strong link between our diet and personal freshness. This is where it gets genuinely interesting, I think, because it shifts from the outside in. It makes this pretty bold statement linking diet directly to cottage cheese secretion, especially when getting intimate. And then it asks, with your level of hygiene, would you date you? Whoa, that's blunt. It really makes you think, okay, how does my diet affect things beyond just weight or general health? Then it gives direct advice. Include fruits and vegetables in your diet, especially pineapples. It actually says, did you know pineapples are your vagina's best friend?
That's definitely a memorable line. And, connecting to the bigger picture, the guide is tapping into something very real scientifically. Mm-hmm. What we eat absolutely influences our whole body chemistry. That includes secretions, sweat, body odors, everything. Our gut microbiome especially is huge here. It processes compounds from food and the byproducts that can definitely affect our internal environment. So while that cottage cheese secretion phrase is vivid, it points to the idea that an imbalance inside, possibly diet-related, can show up in noticeable ways. Now, about pineapples being the best friend. It's important to kind of separate popular ideas from solid science here. A lot of people believe certain foods, like pineapple, can change the taste or smell of bodily fluids, but honestly, there's very limited direct, peer-reviewed scientific proof for that specific claim. What is clear scientifically? A balanced diet, lots of fruits, veggies, whole grains, supports a healthy gut, good overall health, and that in turn definitely influences natural body functions and just general freshness. Pineapples are healthy, sure, vitamin C, water, but the best friend title. More anecdotal, less hard science.
Right. So less about one magic fruit, more about the whole dietary pattern. That's a key takeaway. And the guide also really pushes hydration. It suggests we triple in all your fluid intake, not just water. Why that specific push on fluids? What's critical there?
Well, hydration is fundamental. The guide's emphasis is spot on. Water is essential for basically every function in the body. When you're well hydrated, your kidneys work better. They flush out toxins, waste products more efficiently. That directly affects the concentration of stuff that causes odor and sweat and other secretions. Plus, good hydration supports healthy skin, healthy mucous membranes, including, in intimate areas, makes them more resilient, less prone to irritation or imbalance. So tripling fluid intake, maybe meaning not just water, but herbal teas, water-rich foods too, ensures a stronger internal flushing system. It contributes massively to overall function and freshness, which seems to be a core message here.
Okay, changing gears a bit. The guide then tackles some common but maybe kind of silently struggled with hygiene issues. First one, bad breath is a turnoff, and it really drives it home. You cannot be a baddie or baby girl with bad breath. Wow, that's memorable for sure. Makes you instantly think about your own breath. What's the main point there, beyond just, brushing?
Yeah, that phrase definitely gets your attention. Bad breath or halitosis has a big psychological impact, social impact too. Beyond the basics, brushing, flossing, which are obviously crucial, persistent bad breath can actually signal other things. Could be gum disease, maybe dry mouth, certain foods, of course, but also potentially systemic stuff like digestive issues or even certain infections. So the guide, by being so blunt, is kind of pushing us to look beyond just popping a mint. It's about real oral health and maybe checking if something internal is contributing.
And then hyperhidrosis, excessive sweating. Especially for people who love wearing closed shoes, that's a really common issue. And the guide gives this unique, kind of fascinating tip. Use a fragrance on your socks and shoes. Trust me, it works like magic. That's different, isn't it? Is there any actual science to that magic?
It is definitely an unconventional tip that speaks more to practical, immediate odor control, I think. The magic is mostly masking, really. Fragrances, particularly if they have some antibacterial bits, can temporarily cover up or maybe neutralize the smell from bacteria breaking down sweat. For someone dealing with sweaty feet and closed shoes where you've got moisture, no air, it's an accessible quick fix. Managing the root cause might need more, maybe even seeing a doctor. But this gives you something for confidence right now. The guide builds on this general care idea too and recommends use deodorants on skin folds, especially if you're overweight under the breast, the thighs. That's really practical advice. Those areas trap moisture, there's friction, bacteria can thrive, odors develop easily. Deodorant there helps manage sweat and bacteria, keeps you comfy and fresh, and it links this to the basic advice. Moisturize your body more often. Moisturizing seems simple, right? But the guide frames it as key for maintaining the skin's barrier. A healthy skin barrier protects against irritants, helps keep that balanced microflora we talked about, so it directly impacts long-term freshness, meaning maybe you need fewer reactive fixes later.
And it all leads up to what I think is maybe the most direct and honestly kind of hilarious self-check in the whole guide. If you seat on a char and you leave bad-smelling odor, you've got work to do. The chair test. It's so blunt, but you can't argue with it, can you? It forces you to think about that lingering effect. No hiding from that test.
Exactly. It's such a visceral, clear measure of personal freshness, leaves absolutely no room for excuses.
Yeah.
It makes you acknowledge those maybe subtle, often unconscious signals we might send out.
Yeah.
And it really highlights the holistic idea of hygiene, all the small daily things adding up to a noticeable result. It's a pretty powerful and memorable way to land the message.
So wrapping this up, what does it all mean for you listening? This deep dive into a woman's guide to personal hygiene really shows that Well, good hygiene is way more than just a quick shower and some deodorant. It's not just the obvious stuff. It's nuanced, sometimes surprising, very direct advice on everything from how you shower, the fabrics you choose, to how your diet really does connect to your body's chemistry, and even specific ways to manage odor. It truly paints hygiene as this whole interconnected practice woven into so many parts of daily life.
Absolutely. I think the source's core message is pretty clear. Personal hygiene isn't just about being clean. It's a really comprehensive approach to self-care and about presenting yourself confidently. It encourages us to really look at the details, the things we might not usually think about, and consider how they all add up, contributing to our well-being, how we feel, how we interact with the world. It's about being proactive, thoughtful, informed about taking care of ourselves, recognizing these practices affect comfort, health, even our social lives.
And that brings us to a final thought, something for you to maybe chew on. How do these seemingly small daily acts of personal hygiene shape not just how others see us, but maybe more importantly, how we see ourselves? How do they affect our self-perception, how we carry ourselves in the world? Does committing to these often unseen details show a deeper respect for ourselves, and maybe, in turn, for the people we meet? Does understanding our body's connected systems actually empower us to care for ourselves more deeply? Something to think about until our next deep dive.
You've been listening to The Deep Dive, because understanding sweat is the first step to thriving. Remember to subscribe, share, and connect with us on Hyperhidrosis Awareness Kenya's socials. Together we can stay cool, confident, and unstoppable. Until next time, keep shining. No sweat.